why would I have any control over what people do?
Yeah.
So it's just very odd, but anyway.
On July 11th at 7:35 a.m., Charles showed up to the home to pick up JJ to take to school. As Charles walked into the home, he was reportedly confronted by Lori about having an affair. An altercation ensued between Charles, Lori, and her brother Alex at the Chandler home when at approximately 7:50 a.m. On February 24, 2006, Lori Noreen married Charles Vallow in Las Vegas, Nevada. Lori was born on June 26, 1973, in San Bernardino, California, and was a lifelong member of the Church of Latter-day Saints. She had been previously married 3 times between the years of 1992 and 2005. Lori had a daughter named Tylee Ryan from her last husband, Joseph, while Charles had 2 sons from a previous marriage. In 2014, Charles and Lori adopted Joshua Jackson, who was a boy who suffered from autism that was being raised by Charles's family. The family then moved to Hawaii in late 2014. Their family and friends described their marriage as happy and extraordinary. Charles was a successful businessman who lived and worked in Austin, Texas, while Lori was a part-time hairdresser who primarily stayed at home to care for Tylee and JJ. In June of 2017, the Vallow family moved to Arizona, where the couple reportedly began having problems. Lori had expressed her unhappiness about moving to Arizona with her mother and had been upset with Charles about moving them, despite the fact that Charles needed to move because of his work. Lori told her mother she thought they moved to Arizona because Charles was having an affair with his ex-wife. In January of 2019, Charles left for a routine business trip to Texas. A couple of days later, Lori and her niece Melanie hosted a gathering at their place and invited an amateur author named Chad Daybell after they had read some of the books he wrote, who described himself having lived 31 different lives on different Earth-like planets. As the night winded down, Chad told Lori that him and her had been married in 5 different lifetimes of her 21 eternal lifetimes that she had lived. On January 31st, 2019, Charles returned home from the business trip and discovered his truck was missing from the airport alongside other things. Around 7 p.m. that day, Charles called the police to his Arizona home.
Why don't you come over here? So what's going on tonight?
Can't get in touch with my kids.
How old are your kids?
6.5 and 16. Okay.
How long have you been trying?
2 days.
Okay.
But she's lost her mind. I don't know how else to say it. We're LDS. She thinks she's a resurrected being and a God and member of the 144,000. Jesus is coming next year. She took all the money out of her bank account today. My truck is gone from the airport. She went to the airport and got it. I just flew in from Dallas. Houston and Dallas. So.
Where's your truck?
I don't know.
Okay.
A friend of mine's truck picked me up. I went to the CSI to file a report, which is the community bridges or something. To file a report.
So you did the petition?
Yeah, they ordered a pickup.
Okay. What time did you do that?
Hour and a half ago.
Okay. So what makes her a danger to herself and to others?
She threatened me, murder me, kill me.
She threatened to murder you?
Yes. And she said.
How did she do that?
My bishop right there is in the car. He was on the phone with me today when she said, "I will have you destroyed." Is what she said there.
Okay, that's not a threat to kill you.
Yesterday was a threat to kill me.
Okay. What did she say yesterday?
She said, "You're not Charles. I don't know who you are, what you did with Charles, but I can murder you now with my powers."
So how does she pose a threat to your children?
I don't know what she's going to do with them. I don't know if she's going to flee with them. She's going to hurt them.
You don't even know if she's here, right?
Today on the phone. I can't. All the cars are. The garage is closed. I don't know. She locked the garage door.
I know.
I haven't been up there yet.
I know. But what I'm hold on.
Sorry.
What I'm saying is, do you normally park 2 vehicles in the garage, inside the garage?
Correct.
Okay. So it's a possibility that her car and your truck are inside there?
I don't think she could fit my truck and her car at the same time. She may put them somewhere else. She said to me, "All your stuff is Charles' stuff is gone. You're not Charles. Your stuff is gone."
So, did you file a stolen vehicle report with Phoenix?
I know she took it.
How do you know? You suspect?
I suspect.
Okay.
I suspect.
All right.
I don't know your term. So.
Okay.
Yeah, but
without concrete evidence, we can't say.
I
for
suspect.
Sure. Okay.
And she has the keys.
After Charles said he knew Lori took the car, the officer reiterates that without concrete evidence, it's only suspicion. Charles then agrees it's only suspicion, but then immediately after states that he knows she has the keys.
The code, it's a Ford, the code, door code.
Door code.
And I just want to see my boys okay, and she's got a pickup order. I need to go, she needs to go, and I'm going to take my son.
So you normally live here?
Yeah, oh yeah, I live here.
Okay.
Yeah, all my stuff's in my house.
Okay.
To her.
How old is she?
45.
45.
Beautiful
So,
woman, just
if we talk to her, is she going to be able to have a rational conversation with us?
Oh, she will. I'm sure she will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is she on any medications?
No.
No?
She won't do medications. She's
Okay. Has she been to a doctor?
No, she won't go to the doctor because she's a translated being, and they would find out that she's translated. She cannot be killed. She cannot die. This isn't coming. I love her to death. This is killing me, officer.
Oh, I can understand.
Our 13th anniversary is next month. We've been at a great marriage. All of a sudden, the last month it just blew up.
Mm-hmm.
She just lost connection.
So has she made any statements about wanting to hurt the children or anything?
Today, she said with Gabe on the phone, come take the kids. I don't care what happens to them. Come take them.
Okay, but she didn't make a direct threat towards the kids.
No, not a direct threat.
Okay. And then she said that she would murder you through a spiritual...
No, she said, I can murder you.
I can murder you. And she's talking in a spirit...
I will kill you.
Spiritual...
No, she's talking physically. I will kill you because you're not Charles, and nobody will care.
Okay. So she at this point doesn't think you are her husband?
She thinks I'm Mick Schneider.
Who's Mick
I
Schneider?
have no idea.
Okay.
It's the name she used. I don't know where it came from.
Okay.
I'm just like, I'm as bewildered as you are. This is so foreign to me. Normal people, as far as I'm concerned, but this happens. It just drives me. I don't know what to do. I need help, and she needs help. She needs help. She knows what she's doing. She took $35,000 out of our bank account today. I can't make payroll Friday for my company. She changed our bank account numbers. I had to change it myself to get back in, and I saw all the money's gone. I've got $7 in my name.
So, all right. Is it this house or the one with the flashing lights?
Right there.
On the side of the road.
Oh, where those palm trees are?
Usually have to have star or pound.
Do you have an alarm system?
No. Oh, they changed it. Oh, there you go.
Charles just walked back up to the garage he couldn't get into moments earlier and first states that he himself changed the code lock. He then proceeds to state that they changed it and only after unlocks the door after the other officer reminded him about the 2 buttons that are often used with these security systems.
Cars are all gone. She is gone. I don't know where my kids are. They're all gone.
Is there anything in her place in here like she might have taken off somewhere?
All 4 cars are gone.
Oh, you have 4 cars.
Yeah. My daughter has one. Zach, our nephew, has one. I have my truck, and she has an Infinity.
Okay.
I don't know where my son is.
All right. Well,
Kick it in.
One swift kick will do it.
I'd do a mule kick. Try that first. You gotta get closer to the...
As they searched the house, Lori and the kids were nowhere to be found, but there were clear signs that Lori had left intentionally, as closets from each of their rooms were emptier. On February 8th, only 9 days after he returned home, Charles filed for a divorce from her. In the divorce documents, Charles stated that Lori threatened to murder him if he got in the way of her preparations for Christ's second coming in July of 2020. Lori had disappeared with Tylee and JJ for about 2 months. Many believe she was staying with her brother Alex when in April of 2019, she was asked to come into a medical facility for a mental health examination, since there was talk of what she said to Charles and what had happened throughout the family. Lori was cleared following her mental examination. She told the examiner that Charles had been abusive towards her the past year and that she suspected him of having an affair, which is why she chose to disappear for some time. After hearing from Lori, Charles stopped the divorce proceedings, claiming he wanted to make the marriage work. In July, Charles planned an intervention for Lori with another member of her family that was also worried about her behavior. Lori learned of this intervention and asked her brother Alex to visit her because she feared Charles wasn't only planning an intervention, but something far more sinister. On July 11th at 7:35 a.m., Charles showed up to the home to pick up JJ to take to school. As Charles walked into the home, he was reportedly confronted by Lori about having an affair. An altercation ensued between Charles, Lori, and her brother Alex at the Chandler home when at approximately 7:50 a.m., 2 gunshots were heard. At approximately 8:32 that morning, Alex called the police.
911, where is your emergency?
It's at 55.
You need
Yes.
police or paramedics?
Both. I'm in police and an ambulance.
What's the emergency there?
I got in a fight with my brother-in-law and I shot him in self-defense.
Okay, let me get the medics on the phone. And is he hurt or is he alive or
Yeah, there's blood. He's not moving.
how long ago did this happen?
A couple of minutes.
Fire department, what is the address of the emergency?
5.
And what is the emergency?
I shot my brother-in-law.
Okay, what part of his body is injured?
In the chest.
I'm sorry, where?
In the chest.
Okay, is he awake and responsive or unconscious?
Unconscious.
Okay, is he breathing?
I can't tell.
Okay, are you willing to go over to him and check?
Sure.
Okay, do you just let me know if you see his chest going up and down? How old is he?
It's not moving. He's 60.
Okay, and are you wanting to start CPR?
No, I don't know how to do that.
I can walk you through it.
Okay.
And was he armed also or just you or what happened there?
Yeah, he came at me with a bat.
Anyone been drinking or doing drugs or anything today or no?
I don't know, but I've never seen him that enraged before.
Have a seat.
18th Street secure. We got the gentleman out.
You have some ID on you, sir?
Yeah.
What happened today? How did it get to this?
He was talking with my sister earlier.
No, what happened today, though? Like, just in the last 20 minutes.
He came at me with a bat.
Okay.
Hit
Was
me
he
in the
living
back of the
here
head.
or
No.
visiting?
He came to pick up his son.
Okay, is the son inside?
No. My sister took him to school.
Okay, so it was just you at the house?
Yes.
And he came, how long, what time did he come to pick up the son?
I don't know, 20 minutes ago maybe.
Okay, so you know who he is, let him in?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think they were talking earlier, then she left, and then he got into it with me.
Like what? What do you mean?
I don't know. He was accusing me of.
Come on over here. That truck's going to be really loud. What was he accusing you of?
He was just yelling at me.
Okay. What was he yelling at you about?
He's not my sister because I've broken up the tussle with them earlier. And he told me not to interfere anymore with them or I'd pay. And he came at me with a bat.
Notice Alex's manner of reciting the series of events that led to the incident. Behavior experts typically characterize vague and misdirecting statements as signs of dishonesty, as most guilty suspects tend to be reluctant to share information for the fear of locking themselves in an alibi that would discredit them. This is common for guilty suspects when they haven't had enough time to think about what they're going to say, since if they're guilty, they'd likely have to substitute certain incriminating details.
Okay, so he showed up in the house with a bat in his hand?
No.
Okay, so
There was a scuffle earlier with my sister and my niece. My niece got involved.
about earlier meaning earlier this week, earlier
No,
this morning?
just this morning before they left.
Before your wife left?
My sister.
Before your sister left?
Yeah.
Okay, who lives here with you?
Nobody. I don't live here. My sister lives here and my niece lives here.
And you're just visiting?
I was visiting for the night.
Okay, so you're over here visiting your sister and your niece.
Yes.
Okay, and there was a tussle between your sister and her husband.
Yes.
And does the husband live here or no?
No.
Okay.
He lives in Houston.
Okay, is he an ex-husband or just current husband?
They're working on that.
Gotcha. So at some point earlier today, they get into some type of domestic?
Yeah, just this morning, then they left, and then he came at me.
They left meaning who? Both of parties?
Yeah, my sister took my niece and my nephew.
So they left.
Create some space for him, and then he came at me.
Okay, but did he leave also?
No.
He stayed here?
He stayed.
So you guys are kind of talking in between or what? Who are you? Who are you? No, just go back. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So it's just you and your brother-in-law.
Yes.
Okay. And kind of go through it. Did you say something like, "Hey, don't touch my sister," or
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then he picked up the bat.
Where was the bat at?
In the living room.
And where are you at? Where are you both
in the
at?
living room.
Okay.
And then I turned around and he hit me in the back of the head with the bat. So I went to my room and got my gun. I always carry it.
You went to your room, meaning the room you're staying in?
Yeah.
Okay, and you brought a gun with you?
Yes.
Do you always bring a gun?
I have a concealed carry always.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
Hi, who are you? Okay, just stand over there for just a second, guys.
And then I told him to put the bat down, and he wouldn't, and he came at me again.
And the wife just showed up as well. So you told him to put the...
Yes.
So where are you at?
Back
Where are you at now? Did you stay in your bedroom?
No.
Okay, why didn't you stay just in your bedroom, close the door? Is that something you didn't think about, or...?
Didn't even occur to me.
Alex just stated that it didn't occur to him to stay in the room he had his gun at after he was struck by a bat in the living room by Charles. This presents the notion that Alex was not in fear of his life and felt no threat towards him as he returned to the living room where he was hit.
Okay, so walk me through it. So you go back into your room.
So I just went back to the living room. Like, what is your problem?
With the gun in your
Yes. And I said, I want you to put that bat down. And he wouldn't do it. And he's like, and he came at me with the bat again after he'd already hit me in the head. So I shot him to stop him.
Okay, then what happened?
That was it.
Just think that for a second. Where's the weapon at now?
It's in the bedroom.
So after you shot him, you put it back in the room, or?
Yeah, I went back to the bedroom to get my phone.
Okay. And what'd you do with your phone?
It's right here.
Okay. And then what'd you do once you put your gun back? Grabbed your phone?
I cleaned my head up.
Was he laying there in the living room?
Yeah, he was laying there still. And it just took me a minute to compose myself. I mean, I was just shaking. And then I called.
Gotcha. Okay. So you don't live in Santan Valley, so why is it just easier to just hang out here?
I was just here late last night, sleeping the night.
Gotcha. Okay. Are you and your sister pretty close?
Yeah, we're planning to go do something today.
No handles on the inside? Yeah, no, that's how those police cars are, you know?
So the big thing that I want to do is just make sure that we have all the details accurate and factual. Because kind of some of the information we got from patrol didn't really match up what Lori told us compared to. So walk me through what happened today.
Well, I stayed the night at my sister's.
Okay.
We were planning to go do something fun day. We hadn't really decided. I was thinking maybe I was going to take her to the range.
Okay.
Or go do something.
Okay.
I don't know, take JD to some water park or movies or whatever. So I stayed there last night, and then this morning Charles showed up, and I don't know what started it.
And Charles is your brother-in-law. He and Lori are married.
Yes.
Okay.
So he showed up. He was following her and yelling. And then I got between them. And then Tylee came out with her bat. And I had separated for a minute, and then my sister walked around me there in the living room. And then Charles was following Lori and yelling. And Tylee told him to get back. She took her bat like that and shoved him, and he took the bat away. And I said, "What are you doing?" And I got between them, and then he hit me. And I just went down, and when I got up, he was still yelling. And so I went into the bedroom where I was staying and grabbed my gun, and I came back.
Okay.
And told him to put the gun down, or the bat down. And he came to me and was saying, what are you gonna do? Like that, and come to me with the bat. I said, put it down. He wouldn't, he came at me, so.
This series of events is entirely different from when he first recited them to the detective. Most importantly, he never mentions the fact that he grabbed Charles from behind to the officers that responded on scene.
Okay. So, when that argument first started between Lori and Charles,
yeah.
Where in the house were they?
I don't know.
Okay. Where did you first?
I was in my bedroom.
Okay, so you were in your bedroom, and you heard the argument.
When they came right towards me.
Okay, so they were coming down the hallway towards the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay, so you hear the argument, you step out, what's the first thing that you see?
Charles chasing after Lori and yelling.
Okay. Had Tylee already gotten the bat? No. Did he already have the bat? Okay. No. So Charles is coming towards Lori,
He's
or coming
towards
your way.
Lori, and I shoved him back.
Okay.
And I said, what are you doing? Because he's coming at her aggressively.
Okay.
He's a big dude, so he's not gonna hurt my sister.
Did he fall to the ground when you shoved him?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so he falls to the ground, he gets back up. You're blocking between him and Lori.
Yes.
And he basically is talking past you, still yelling at Lori.
Yes, exactly.
What's he saying?
I don't remember.
Okay. So, as you're standing there between them, what happened right after that? Is that when Tylee came out with her bat?
No, he backed up.
Okay.
He yelled something, and then he backed up, and then Lori went by me and around me in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
So he backed up, I had cleared the doorway. So then she came around, and then Charles was behind her, pursuing her again aggressively.
Okay.
Tylee came out, yelling with the bat.
What I find it easiest to do in situations like this is to kind of draw like a rough floor plan.
Sure.
So you push him down.
Yep.
And then he gets back up.
Yep.
And
then he yells, and then he backs up.
Okay.
And then Lori goes around him, and they're still going at it.
Okay.
Right? And then Tylee comes out when she hears what's going on. She has her bat.
Okay. Is it a metal bat?
Yeah, it's
plastic
a aluminum bat.
Okay.
So she comes at him, because she's tiny, so that's like her thing. She doesn't have anything, but she wants to help defend her mom.
Okay.
So she comes at him, and then
when they've already moved back towards the living room.
So they're going this way.
Okay.
So Lori's here, Tylee's here, Charles is here, I'm here. Tylee goes at him with the bat. Then he takes the bat away from her, and I step towards him, and he turned around and cracked me.
Is that for the injury that's caused on your head? Okay.
Well, there was some shoving first, and I got spun around.
Okay.
And then popped. So I go back here, grab my gun, and come back out. He's still yelling and threatening me.
Okay.
And then, so I was standing here, and he was there.
Okay. So you're standing right there. He's right here.
He's there.
And you said, what happened? What happened when you came out with the gun?
I said, put that bat down. He's like, what are you going to do? So you're going to threaten me? I was like, no, I'm just going to defend myself. So you put that bat down. And he goes, what are you going to do like that? And he came at me.
Okay.
And he'd already hit me in the head.
Okay. So he came at you at the bat. What was he doing with the bat when he came at you?
It was in his right hand like this.
Okay. So he's holding it low and he's coming at you? Okay. So you gave him...
After Alex claims he shot Charles in self-defense, Alex had been instructed to perform CPR while on the phone with the 911 operator. During the call, he can be heard breathing heavily as if he's pushing down on Charles's chest in order to revive him. Performing CPR on a man with 2 bullet wounds would certainly create a bloody mess, yet Alex's clothes are spotless aside from the small bloodstains coming from the injury on the back of his neck.
How many times would you say you told him to put the bat down?
Once.
Once? Okay. And then he started advancing towards you?
Yes.
What's he doing again?
He's got the bat.
Okay.
And he's looking at me and he's going, what? And I told him, I said, Charles, put that bat down. And he goes, what are you going to do about it?
How were you holding the gun when that happened?
Okay,
so you pointed it at him?
Yeah.
How many shots did you fire?
I don't know. A couple.
Okay. Were Tylee and your sister...
I didn't see them, so I don't know where they were.
So you fire a couple times.
Yep.
You don't know where they're at.
They're gone.
They're gone. What happened right after that?
Right after that, I went to the kitchen and rinsed my hands off because blood on the back of my head. And then I went back into the room and put the gun down and grabbed my phone. And then went back into the kitchen and called 911.
Okay. And then, did you see your sister and Tylee again? Did they come back in or not?
Not till they drove up.
Okay. Then they drove up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
When they drove up outside.
Gotcha. Did Lori ever say, like in the last couple of days, that Charles was coming to town?
Yeah, she said he was coming to pick up JJ.
Okay. So you guys were expecting him to show up today?
Yeah.
Okay. So you knew, okay. It wasn't like he just showed up unexpectedly?
No, it wasn't a surprise or anything like that.
But you don't know what they were arguing or fighting about?
His behavior was a surprise, but him showing up was not a surprise.
It's probably the easiest way to start, is just to tell me what happened. And then, so you can start what makes the most sense to you, and we'll just work our way through, and I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions just to kind of clarify.
Sure.
So I know you talked to the initial patrol officer.
And he just got information. He
didn't say
anything.
So yeah, if you can just kind of tell me kind of what happened. It sounds like some of this may have started last night or something along those lines.
Right.
So start where you think it makes the most sense.
Okay, so,
I told you, it's a crazy question.
well, so we moved into this house 3 weeks ago because he offered to get me a house here where all my family is. So we
Okay.
were in Houston. And so he's like, we had decided to separate or whatever. So he's like, well, I'll pay for a house for you and for JJ and whatever, because he's all about JJ. He's never about Tylee, but he's all about JJ. Because we adopted him together. So he came when we first moved in and brought me stuff from Houston, like a U-Haul, and then he hasn't been back. But it's all these threats on my phone all the time, you know, like whatever, all these things. And then he told me...
What kind of threats?
Just... You'd have to read them to see, but he's always mad at me, right?
Okay.
And he doesn't want a divorce, but I don't like him and don't want to deal with him, so that's just how it is. Like, so we married for 14 years, we've dealt with it for 14 years, of him being horrible to her. Like, he gets in huge fights with her, a lot of things, but anyway.
Lori just stated that Charles was constantly threatening her over text, yet when the detective asked for an example, she's unable to provide one. Not only is she unable to recite an example, she then changes subjects to explain that Charles was horrible to Tylee when the subject of the detective's question was about herself.
Long story. I'll keep it short. He hasn't been here in a couple weeks since we moved in.
Okay.
He came, he was very nasty when he was there, but he travels for business. So he went back to the Houston house, and he's like, I'm coming on Wednesday night, and I'm going to come pick up JJ and take him to school Thursday, pick him up Thursday, take him Friday, whatever. And I said, Casey wanted to come to the house, and I said, you can't come stay at this house because you can't get along with Tylee. She's a minor, she has to live here.
Yeah.
So, because he gets in huge fights up there.
Okay.
And she hates him. And so I'm like, you can't stay at the house, so I will book you a hotel, because he stays in hotels all the time because he travels for business, and the business pays for it, right? So I said, I will book you a hotel nearby. So he didn't bother me last night, which I was surprised. I was expecting kind of an ambush for him to kind of like come over or be just mean. And say, it's my house, I'm on the lease, I'm going to stay here, kind of thing. Because that's kind of his macho attitude. He came over in the morning and he's like banging on the door. I'm like, oh great, here we go, you know. And I was just going to be nice, I'm just going to be nice as possible. And I had JJ stuff all ready for school. And so.
Do you remember about what time he got there?
He said he'd be there at 7:30, but it was more like 7:40-ish or 7:35, I don't know.
Okay.
But I remember thinking, looking at the clock, and he wasn't there at 7:30, and he's usually Mr. On
Punctual.
time. Yes. So I was like, okay. And then JJ was like, oh, Dad. And then he was like, Mommy, and like ran to me and like holding me. He's like, you're not taking me to school. And I was like, it's okay, Daddy can just drive you to school. It's not a big deal. You know, just trying to make it whatever.
Calm.
Yeah, calm. And then he was just being real smirky and real like jerky, you know, to me, and I was like ignoring him, whatever. And so he was like,
And your brother lives there with you?
No.
Okay.
He had stayed with me last night because I was worried he was gonna come over and cause trouble with me.
Okay.
And just wanted someone else there, like my brother there, because I trust my brother. And it's been a long story. Like, I had to go live at my brother's when he took JJ, and, you know, he's just been difficult, so. Anyway. So I got JJ's stuff ready, and he was like, well, and he's like this about timing. He's like, I'm leaving in 20 minutes, because it's like 15 minutes to the school, and like you can't get there early, they don't open the gates until 8:20 or something like that. And I said, well, why don't you just go now? I don't want him in the house. I'm like, why don't you just go now and take him to Burger King, because that's what he likes for breakfast. And he's very particular about food. Like, he wanted chicken fries for breakfast and a Sprite. Like, and I just get what he wants, because if you don't get what he wants, then it's like on the floor screaming, dragging him into school. Like, and he's big and he's heavy, and it's hard for me to handle. But anyway, so I said, just go. And so he said, okay. So I gave him a backpack. He got in the car. This is his MO, right? He always leaves something in the house and comes back. He never leaves the first time. I always expect my husband to come back into the house, right? So I guess he had left his phone on the counter.
Lori just stated that she didn't want Charles in the house, so she suggested he take them to get the breakfast they wanted that morning. She then states he says okay and puts JJ's stuff in the car. Immediately after, she states that he left his wallet in the house, yet never mentions that Charles entered the house in the first place. Behavior experts would recognize this narration of events as if she's telling a story rather than reciting the events that transpired only hours earlier.
So he initially left with the backpack and with JJ? And
so he put them in the car, in the driveway, and then he came back in, right? So I kissed JJ goodbye. He came back in, and his phone was on the counter, and I had his phone. And he was like, give me my phone, and I was like, why don't you show me your text that you've been texting, blah, 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 you know, whatever. Because he's like acting really weird, like he's plotting something against me. Like, I'm like, why are you even here? Like, what did you come here for, you know? He's been talking to my other brother, and my brother came into town at the same time last night. And I haven't talked to my brother in a while, my other brother, and I was like, and so he was texting him on the phone when he first got to my house, and I'm like, why are you texting Adam? Like, do you even talk to him? Like, my other brother. And, you know, he's been telling me all these texts, like, you're going down, blah, 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 blah. He's blaming me for our marriage breaking up, and my niece getting divorced, and my friend getting divorced. He said, I'm a destroyer of families. Because I want everybody to get divorced. I'm like, what would my motivation be for people getting divorced? So I could babysit the kids more? Like, why would I have any control over what people do?
Yeah.
So it's just very odd. But anyway.
So this morning he comes back in and...
He comes back in, I wouldn't give him his phone. He was screaming at me to give him his phone. He was very worried about whatever was on his text that he did not want me to see. And so I was just holding it there, and he was screaming at me. And I was kind of walking around the house with it, so he couldn't get it. He's like reaching for it and stuff like that. And so Tylee came out of her room upset, and she had a bat, and she told him to leave her mother alone, like, right? So she was really whatever, and he's screaming at her, don't you hit me with that bat, blah, 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 blah. And then my brother heard all the commotion because he was in there in bed, and so he came out into the main room, and I guess whatever.
What's your brother's name?
Alex.
Alex, okay.
And then he just started, he was screaming, and he was super upset and whatever, and he's yelling at Tylee, don't you hit me with that bat, and blah, blah, blah. And so Tylee, I guess, I don't know if she swung at him or what, but he like grabbed the bat from Tylee and then went to like hit Tylee with the bat. It was, and I was right there, they were right there, and my brother grabbed him from behind, like just to stop him from hitting Tylee.
You go like this, like he grabbed him like...
Yeah, from behind, like just kind of to pull him back. And then they got into the thing, and he's hitting him with the bat, and they're on the ground, like grappling around or whatever. And then, I mean, that was all quickly.
And he hit your brother with the bat while they were grappling and stuff?
Yeah, yes, he was hitting him with the bat, like swinging the bat, you know, back and forth, and they were kind of like on the ground, and I was like freaking out trying to go around, knowing JJ was in the car, right? And so then he got up, and he had the bat like this towards me, and I was going around the other side to try to just get out of his range where he couldn't hit me. And then I had told Tylee, because she was on the ground, because after he took the bat from her, she fell back. And so I told her, I was like, go get in the car with JJ. Like, I don't want JJ coming in to the house, or, and I wanted her out of the way. I wanted the kids out of the way of whatever this fight was going to be. And then,
do you remember what your husband or your brother were saying or yelling during all of this? If they were at all?
Just kind of, get off me, out, or whatever, whatever. They were like, don't talk to my niece about whatever. Like, it was, I don't remember specifics, but they were kind of both, they were kind of in the heat of it. I don't think there was many words that I remember.
So Tylee goes outside.
Yeah, she was outside.
And then what happened?
Then they got up from that, and my brother had like stepped back, I guess, and then Charles was coming with me at the back, yelling at me to give him his phone still, because I had it in my hand. It was all really quickly. And then when I went around kind of in the circle, then my brother was there.
When you said when you were going around and he was coming at you with the bat, how was he holding the bat?
Just like that, like backwards, almost in one arm.
Like he was swinging it backwards? He would have done like
he would have swung it backwards at me, not frontwards.
Okay, yeah.
He was a professional baseball player.
Okay.
So it wasn't a good idea for Tyler to get out of that.
Probably not the.
I mean, he played semi-pro.
Yeah.
He was, But.
Lori's ability to laugh about traumatic events and details, including witnessing the death of her own husband, is important to note here. While some can argue that laughter at these moments could just be the effect of nervousness when discussing these events, one cannot make that argument without paying attention to the amount of resentment and hatred Lori demonstrates towards Charles when speaking about him.
Yeah, and then I was kind of turned around, and we were all right there in that room, except for the kids had been outside by that time, and I heard the gunshot. And
so you heard the shot? Did you actually see the shot, or did you just hear it?
I had gone around to the kitchen to get away from him, and so back around. So I don't know if you went in the house.
I didn't, so I'm like a little bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah, so I didn't see the shot. I heard it, and then I came back around and I saw that he was on the ground.
Okay.
And was freaking out.
Yeah.
And so I was just freaking out, and it just went into mom mode. I'm like, I've got to go to get JJ to school. I've got to get to the kids. I just felt like I got to get to the kids. And so I just went outside and to see if they were in there okay. I didn't want them coming back in the house when all that was going on. And got JJ in the car, and he was trying to come in. And Tylee was like looking at me with like the crazy eyes, like what just happened. And I told her to get in the car and we're going to take JJ to school. And I just left.
When you came back in and you saw him on the ground, where was your brother? Did you see him where he was at?
Yeah, he was right in front of him.
Okay.
Like, it all happened very quickly. That
Right.
was, I mean, I feel like I was there because I was right there, and like a second later. Like,
Okay.
I just went around the kitchen to get away from him.
Did your brother say anything to you at all? Do you remember?
No, we were both just in shock.
Okay.
Like, it was just I didn't say anything. I went out with the kids just to check on them first, and I was going to come back in maybe, but I didn't. I was like, I just have to get him to school and call the police and come back, whatever.
Did anybody say did you or your brother say anything at some point about calling the police or calling 911? Do you remember?
Yeah, he called me.
Okay.
And he said, are you taking JJ to school? And I said, yeah, we need to call the police. And he said, okay.
Okay. So he called you when you didn't come back inside, basically?
Right.
Okay.
Because I was like in the car for a minute, and then I was like, what do I do? And I didn't want JJ to go inside, and I didn't know what to do. And Tylee was freaking out. I was trying to get them away from the scene.
Understandable. And you may not know this, so, because I know you heard the shot, do you know at what point your brother had the gun? Do you know if he had it when they got in their first fight, or did he have to go get it, or do you know that at all?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
And do you remember if you ever heard your brother?
I didn't see him ever leave the room.
Okay.
So, it was so fast. All that was so fast. Like him on the ground rolling around and I'm screaming and...
This probably happened in a couple seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it was like super fast.
And I don't know if you know this or not, does your brother normally carry a gun? Like, I carry a gun everywhere I go.
Right, like I know he's a gun person, like he has guns and things.
Okay.
He's good with guns.
Did you know that he had one with him?
No.
When he came over?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because he's very, very professional with guns.
Proficient, professional. Responsible is usually a good
right, responsible with guns.
And then, do you remember if at any time, so you were trying to get away from him, and you heard the shot. Prior to the shot, do you remember at any point hearing your husband or your brother saying anything to either of them?
No.
So my second very ridiculous question is there anything else that I didn't ask about or anything that we didn't cover that you think is important? I always ask that just because I wasn't there, and so we're going through something that happened a super small amount of time.
Yes. Can I
step? Yeah, go for it.
Just thinking. Just that he was just so angry, like super scary.
Did you
know how you take your phone away from like a 16-year-old and they freak out? Like their world disintegrates. Like I've taken my phone away from a 16-year-old boy before, and he's like wanted to kill himself because like they kidnapped him. That's how it was. It was like it's something on his phone that he does not want me to see. That he was like freaking out, like to the point where I thought he would hit me in the back of the head to get the phone.
Lori insists she's scared Charles will hurt her and Tylee, but she wouldn't give him his phone back, which implicates she wasn't afraid enough to let the phone go in fear of her and Tylee's life. If she was truly in fear and trying to keep things calm like she claims, the logical thing would have been to let the phone go to de-escalate the situation.
Okay. So you thought, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you thought it was possible that he was going to hurt you?
Absolutely, he was going to hurt me and Tylee.
Okay.
Not JJ, he would never hurt JJ.
Okay.
And he hurt my brother. Like, he was going like ballistic about. It was bad.
Okay. I'm gonna go talk to her real quick. Hi.
Hi.
So you have to spell your name because we're all taking guesses on how to spell it. We're not sure.
Tylee.
Okay, I was right. And what's your last name? So I know this is going to kind of sound like kind of a silly question because it's super broad, but can you basically tell me what happened today?
Okay. So I woke up probably around like 7:50, I want to say, because I heard yelling from like right outside my door. I don't even know where, but I immediately like jumped up, and I have a baseball bat because when I was living at my uncle's by myself, I just wanted something to like feel safer. So yeah, I immediately just jumped up and I grabbed my baseball bat and I opened the door, and it was my stepdad, you know, outside the doorway, and then my uncle kind of in the doorway, and then I could hear my mom behind him. And he was just screaming at both of them, like, I don't even know what he was saying, because honestly I was just too, like wired, I guess. So I told him to take a few steps back. I was like, you're too close, you need to step back. And he was like, don't tell me what to do. And I just kind of just stood there, and then my uncle kind of moved out of the way, and then my mom kind of went past him and into like the big room.
Okay.
Where everything happened, and so I walked with them, and then I...
So they were more in the hallway?
Yeah, they were at, like, the end of the hallway,
Okay.
Basically, and so my mom walked all the way around, and he kind of followed them, and I just kind of stood. My uncle was, like, right here, and then my stepdad right here, and then me and my mom were kind of right here. And I didn't do anything with the baseball bat, I kind of just held it there, and he was getting really close to my mom, so I kind of stuck it out, like, between them, and they were both just yelling, and he was like, if you hit me with that baseball bat, you're gonna go to jail, and I just kind of stood there with the baseball bat, and I didn't really say anything.
When you said they were yelling, who was yelling?
It was mostly my stepdad.
Okay.
Well, he was really the only one, like, yelling.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was kind of, like, responding, but I honestly couldn't tell you what they were saying. It was kind of just, like, all jumbled up in my head. And so I just kind of stuck the baseball bat out there, and then he just grabbed it and tried to take it. So I held on to the end, and then eventually I fell, and he kind of took it into his hands like he was going to do something with it, and that's when...
So when you fell, he ended up with the bat?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I fell to the ground, and then my uncle kind of, like, I saw him take a step back, so my uncle, I think, grabbed him and kind of took him back so he couldn't, like, do anything.
You saw your stepdad, like, take a step back?
Take a step back.
Tylee states that Charles grabbed the bat she was pointing at him and took a step back after she fell back. She then claims that Alex grabbed him from behind and they fell over. But what her series of events tells us is that Charles exhibited no provocation until he was assaulted from behind by Alex. He only grabbed the bat that Tylee had pressed against his stomach, and while he may have been enraged, it seems he never initiated any physical contact.
Because he was really close to begin with, and then and so my mom said to go with JJ, and so I ran out the door, and then I kind of just stood there with my little brother. He was in the front seat of the car, and so I just kind of opened the door and just stood there, and, like, he was trying to get out, and I was like, no, we have to stay in, and then eventually my mom came out, and then we left from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened inside of the house? Has your mom kind of explained it all to you?
I just kind of asked her, like, because I heard a noise, which I know what it was now, but it sounded like, because I knew that the baseball bat was in there, it sounded like someone, like, took it and hit it really hard against the floor.
Okay.
And so I was kind of like, Al's okay, right? Because that's my uncle. So I just wanted to make sure that, like, my stepdad didn't do anything to my uncle and stuff. And so she was like, no, like, Al's fine. Like, we're just going to take JJ to school. And I was like, okay. So I just got in the car, and then we went to Burger King.
Following the interviews, detectives closed the investigation, citing Alex shot Charles in self-defense based on the facts they gathered from all witnesses. After his death, Lori remained distant from the rest of Charles's family, and on September 3, 2019, Lori, with Tylee and JJ, moved to Rexburg, Idaho, into a home with Chad Daybell, the amateur author who had supposedly been Lori's husband in 5 different lifetimes. Tylee and JJ enrolled into their new school, Kennedy Elementary, shortly after moving, but on the 24th of September, Lori informed the school that JJ would be getting homeschooled. On October 19th, Tammy Daybell, who was Chad Daybell's former wife, was found dead in her Salem, Idaho home, approximately 5 minutes away from Rexburg. The death was ruled to be due to asphyxiation, and no further investigation was made. On November 5th, 2019, only 3 weeks after Tammy's death, and just 4 months after Charles's death, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell got married in Hawaii. Just a few weeks later, Lori's brother Alex also got married in Gilbert, Arizona to a woman named Zulema. Lori and Zulema became good friends, and within a month after meeting each other, Zulema started attending church with Lori frequently. It seemed that things had finally started looking better with Lori's new marriage and friendships. 2 weeks later, Alex was found dead by Zulema's son.
911, where is your emergency?
Hi, I need an ambulance to... Yes.
Why do you need an ambulance?
I have a older male here named Alex. He just passed out here on my bathroom.
Okay, is he awake right now?
I think he's passed out.
Okay, you think he's unconscious?
Yes.
Okay. Is he breathing normally, like you can see his chest rising and falling? Hello?
I hope so.
Can you lay him flat on his back on the ground?
I'll try. It's just there's feces there, and I'm trying to just keep cool right now.
Okay, just try to get him on his back so we can do chest compression.
My mother just got here.
Okay, give her the phone then. So, did she say the mother just got there? Yeah.
Come here. Come here.
And we're coming on Mineral right now.
Really
We're
bad.
almost there.
It's really bad. Come upstairs in the bathroom. We need to get him on his back.
Can you put your mom on the phone?
She's right here. You're on speaker.
Okay, ma'am, the paramedics are pulling up, but in the meantime, we need him to get flat on his back, and we need to give him chest compressions, okay?
Chest compression. Wait. But
Does she know how to do CPR?
yes.
When Alex was found by paramedics, it was reported he had pink foam on his lips. The caller also stated that there was feces on the floor where he found him. Both of these signs are common effects of the poison called strychnine. Strychnine, when inhaled or swallowed, causes poisoning which results in muscular convulsions and eventually death through asphyxiation. The autopsy, however, only reported that he died from a blood clot due to his high blood pressure, which is a cause of death correlated to asphyxiation, yet uncorrelated to any foaming at the mouth. When Lori and Chad get back home, the Rexburg Police Department conducted a well-being check on JJ. Lori told police that JJ was with her friend Melanie in Arizona and Tylee was off at a boarding school. When police contacted Melanie, she told officers that Lori and Chad contacted her to tell her not to talk to the police when they called her. Lori reportedly told her that the spirits of the dark are going to call her and she must ignore them. On January 25, 2020, local authorities located Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow in Hawaii and served Lori with a court order requiring her to produce the children within 5 days. And when she missed the court order deadline to produce JJ and Tylee, she was arrested and charged with 2 felony counts of desertion and non-support of dependent children. Investigators obtained a search warrant on Chad's property in Salem, Ohio. Detectives noticed certain parts of the backyard had patch marks as if holes had just been patched up. What they found shocked them. Just northeast of the small pond, detectives found the remains of JJ. Just as investigators began to process this discovery, the remains of Tylee were found buried at the pet cemetery that Chad had designated the area as. CSI reports showed that Tylee's body was dismembered and partially burned, while JJ's body was wrapped in black plastic bags and secured with duct tape. Both Lori and Chad were charged with the murders of Tamara Daybell, Tylee Ryan, and JJ Vallow, and only a month later, Lori was charged with conspiracy to commit murder in the death of her ex-husband, Charles Vallow. As of today, the prosecution have announced that they are seeking the death penalty for Chad, while Lori has been found to be incompetent based on the progress report from a mental health facility. Her next hearing will take place in March of 2022.
With that, we'll be in recess.
All right.